Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Virtual Expert Night Out. I'm your host, Kishokumar, global health coach, pharmacologist, certified in integrative nutrition, and international speaker. So, this is a time I come to you guys along with other experts in order to help you and give you some ease and to help you look at things from a different point of view. So if you want to learn something like to personal transformation, something to do with your mindset or your physical health, or to build a community of change and to motivate each other, this is the right place. You got to be here. With all what we have learned throughout the years, that has literally helped us, and also with our own expertise, we are here to give you some best tools that you can start applying in your life immediately. And some of those tools are going to be science-based as well. So every expert who come over with me in these episodes are people whom I trust and respect, who have integrity, and they are committed to growth, and they have their own authenticity. And most importantly, they are here with one intention, that is to help you guys. So today we have a special guest who is also my mentor, a successful speaker working closely with JT Foxx, the world's #1 wealth and business coach. He's also a best-selling author, business and entertainment investor, and also advisor to top 1% entrepreneurs worldwide. He had been coached and mentored by some of the most successful people worldwide. For over a decade, he was a top performer for peak performance strategist and motivational speaker Tony Robbins, and was a member of his management team as well. On top of that, he has also been visiting many countries and speaking in various stages, giving guidance, the motivation and skills that you need in order to overcome fear and limiting beliefs and increasing confidence so that you can live the life you desire as well. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Reggie Batts. Hi, Reggie. It's a
pleasure. Wow.
To meet you.
I hope I can live up to that introduction.
That's the truth, right? Thank you so much for coming and giving
Thank you for having me.
And before I jump into some questions, I wanted to also mention that this is one of my great tools. This is Reggie's book, and it's called Mindset for Success, Developing and Maintaining the Mindset. If you are looking for something that you can keep and take anywhere you are traveling, this is something that you got to buy, and you can find this in Amazon as well as any bookstores. And so, Reggie, in this book, you're talking about simple steps and tools that I have started applying, and I'm sure many others would agree as well. Tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you become successful?
Well, I mean, that's a long journey, and I look at success as a journey. I don't look at it as a final destination. It's definitely a journey, because you also have to maintain and continue to grow that success, as with any area of your life. For me, I think it started right after university. I had the opportunity to meet Tony Robbins, the motivational speaker I'm sure everyone knows. And I was 21 years old. I had no direction. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. Unfortunately, after university, they don't give you a manual that says, okay, this is what the next step is going to be. So I was really at the right place at the right time. I made the decision. I live in San Diego, California right now. I'm originally from Los Angeles. And the reason why I live in San Diego is because I moved here because I wanted to work with Tony Robbins. I wanted to be a part of that environment. And because after seeing him on TV, I said to myself, I don't know what this guy is on, but whatever it is, I want some of it, because he was just speaking directly to me. And I strategically, I didn't even know what the word strategic meant at the time, but I strategically got myself into his organization and was able to start working with him. And I met him, I would say, about 2 months after I started working in the organization. I started working with, I asked who the top producers were in the organization. I leaned on them, because he used to always say, if you want to become the best at something, make sure you lean on the people who are doing it. And that's exactly what I did in his organization. And I became one of the top producers and worked my way all the way to the top. I was on the executive team, the senior management team, and managed a very large budget, did a lot of traveling, helped him build businesses under the Tony Robbins brand. And it was the time of my life. I had a great time. That's really how it all started. So I've been doing this a great deal of my life. And after Tony Robbins, I resigned because I didn't want to travel anymore. I was just traveling all the time, and I had made a lot of money, and I just decided that I was going to take a little bit of time off, and I took a couple of trips traveling around the world, and this was in 2008 when I had left Tony Robbins, and there was a lot going on in the world in 2008. We had the global crisis. We had everything was falling apart in the world. Here in America, we had a new president. There was a lot of uncertainty. We had the auto industry. We had the banking industry. We had the housing industry. We had high unemployment. It was not time to leave a lucrative situation that I was in. But I did, because I wasn't thinking about the negativity about what was going on. I was looking for the opportunities, because successful people, in times of crisis, successful people don't, look at the crisis and the negativity that's going on. That's when we're looking for the opportunities. And I've always been coached and trained to really have that type of mindset. Even what's going on now, there's so many opportunities out there. You can choose to watch the news and all the negative stuff that's going on, or you can really put that wall down and really look for those opportunities that are out there. And I had a lot of opportunities. And the next being JT Foxx, because I had the opportunity to meet him. And this is before he had a brand, and this is before he was known all over the world. It was really just the two of us in his living room with no furniture. And he was telling me all these great things he wanted to do. And honestly, I didn't think he can do it, because I know how tough and challenging it was for Tony Robbins to really build his global brand. And JT wanted to do it like overnight. And I'm pleased to say that he did it overnight, and now he has a global brand. And so I spent over a decade with Tony Robbins, and now I'm over a decade with JT Foxx.
Wow.
Doing what I love. And that's helping people, speaking all over the world, coaching entrepreneurs, coaching them on their mindset, and really helping to create blueprints to get them from where they are to where they want to be.
Amazing. That's a beautiful journey. I've been always admiring you, and every time you share those stories in trainings, and I'm like, oh wow. Just grabbing things from you to learn as well.
Absolutely.
And, I really wanted to ask you, different people have different meanings for success. And I used to think of something before coming under your coaching and everything, because what does success mean for you? What is it really? How should one look at success?
Well, most people tie success to things that they have or how much money that you make. I don't really subscribe to that. I guess that's a good way to keep score, but there's no fulfillment in having money. There's no, and people may say, that's easy for you to say, but what I mean by that is, think of when you were a kid. When I was a kid, like birthdays were really popular in my family, and my parents would pretty much get me whatever I wanted for my birthday, because as long as I did what I was supposed to do, they did that for me. And you think of when you were like 13 years old, and there's this present that you've always wanted. Maybe it's a bike, maybe it's something else, or a car or something, whatever the case may be. And you get it, and you're so excited to get it, and you feel like, oh my God, I got it, I've made it. But what happens after about 3 weeks?
You forget about it. It's not something.
Without it, it doesn't mean anything to you, and you're looking for the next thing to go to. And I kind of look at success like that when it comes to material things. It's great to have those things, but that's not going to really give you the fulfillment that you want. It'll give you happiness short term, but fulfillment is more long term. So I think my definition of success is having the freedom to do what you want, when you want, how you want, and with whom you want. Right? Because the more successful you are, the more you can help other people. The more the successful you are, the more you can give, right? Yeah. So that's why it's always important to grow. And, because what's the opposite of growth? Oh. Yeah. Right? Because you're either growing or you're dying. There's no in between. So success to me is really doing what, having the freedom to do what you want, when you want, how you want, with whom you want. And that's what it means for me, and having a sense of fulfillment as well. But again, it's not, you don't get that and stop. You get that and work harder because you have to maintain it. And that's the key.
That's right. So every time if you relate success to some materialistic things, you just keep on moving, like how you explained in the field, because that's how I was looking at. Because success was always when your parents define things and you think, oh, I have to be this to be successful.
Right, exactly. But for me, it's also a sense of, having that sense of accomplishment and accomplishing things, and especially accomplishing things that someone in your status or whatever would normally not accomplish, you know what I mean? Or accomplishing something that not too many people have really accomplished, because that's what gives you fulfillment. And if someone just gave it to you, you'd be happy. But again, that happiness would be short term. If you earned it and if you worked hard for it and you did whatever it took to make it happen, now you have a sense of fulfillment because you've earned it, right? So, I have friends of mine who were given everything, after high school. They were just given everything. And they're not doing so good right now because that's how they were raised. And we don't live in a world where people are just going to give you things. We live in a world where you have goals and you work hard to make that happen. And that's where fulfillment comes from. And
that's give you self-satisfaction as well. So I love the way you told about the freedom, because
absolutely. And you have to know that, no differently than when you go to the gym. If you continue to lift the same weight, nothing's going to happen. You're going to plateau.
Yeah.
And you have to add additional weight in order to make it happen. You look at people in the gym who go every single day and who are totally fit. If they stop doing that for even 2 weeks, it's going to have an effect on their mindset. And it's going to have an effect on their body. So
big time.
You have to keep on making it happen.
I can totally agree and relate to that as well.
We can all relate to that. Right?
I wanted to also ask you about the current pandemic, and a lot of uncertainty around, and people are losing job, and there's so much of fear. Even if nothing has happened, there's so much of fear in the society, and community are like worried about how the economy is going to be, or even falling ill for that matter. How can one change the fear into a powerful tool, especially this time?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think one of the best ways to do it, and I'm going to make this relevant to what's going on today, is that we focus on the right things, right? Right now, some people are focused on the fear. And if you focus on the fear, that's exactly what's going to show up. I truly believe that whatever you focus on, one way or another, that's what's going to show up in your life. If you're focused on the fear, that's all you're going to see, because you've given your mind permission to only look for the fear, right? And they go online and they look at all these negative things, most of which aren't even true, that they see, they buy into it because that's what they're looking for. That's what their brain is looking for. And you're not going to be happy until you get something that's going to feed that fear. And eventually it's going to drive you crazy. So redirect your focus and focus on things that are going to serve you. Focus on things that are going to move you to really take action to make it happen. Because again, most of my friends are doing very well because we redirected our focus and we're looking for opportunities, because we know that now is the time where the most opportunities are created, because many people live in fear and most people aren't looking for opportunities, right? Because they're too focused on the fear. And there's a lot of opportunities out there. And if all you're doing is focus on the fear, you literally have this wall up, right? But once you redirect your focus, that wall comes down, and then you can see the opportunities. Not only see them, but those opportunities come to your life, right? So everything that we focus on is what's going to show up. I spend very little time watching TV. Here in America, when you watch TV and you're watching the news of what's going on with the whole COVID-19, all they talk about are people who are dying.
That's right.
There's a number on the right top line of the TV screen that tells you how many people have died and how many people have contracted who caught the virus. I don't want to see that. Because, it's because it's not going to encourage me. Instead, I'm looking for opportunities. I'm looking for things that are going to serve me. I'm looking for things that are going to help me to grow, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what's important. And you have to really sharpen your mind and condition your mindset to focus on things that are going to empower you, not things that are going to disempower you. So turn the TV off and start planning and ask yourself, what can I do, to where I am, based on my experience, based on my education, based on what I like to do, what can I do to make the most of this situation?
Sure.
Because everyone has a silver lining in what's going on. You have to find out what that silver lining is. And for me, it's been more clients. For me, it's been more speaking engagements and more people that I'm coaching and more business opportunities, because that's what I've been focused on. And another thing is only focus on what you can control. If you're focused on things that you cannot control, it's going to drive you crazy. Why? Because you can't control it, right? So I can't control, you mentioned the economy. I can't control the global economy.
That's right.
But I can control my own
Yes.
economy, right? So I'm not concerned with the global economy. I only have to concern myself with my economy, making sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do to grow my business, to grow my finances, to grow myself as a person. I have the power to do that, and that's what I choose to focus on.
So literally focusing on our self-power.
Absolutely.
And just not focusing on things that has not happened and go into these what-if questions.
Well, if it hasn't happened, I mean, if it hasn't and it's never happened, why are you thinking about it? And that's why fear is false, because we fear things. Most fear comes from things that haven't even happened. And if we think about that so much, it's eventually going to show up, because again, that's all we're looking for.
Yeah, energy grows where energy grows.
Yeah. And even, I mean, as odd as this is, some people, that's what gives them certainty. Have that fear show up in their life. And that, I don't really understand that, but for some people, that's the certainty they're looking for. And that's just not a very good mindset to have, because you're not going to grow. You're going to shrink.
That's a great answer, because this is something very common. A lot of people are talking about this these days, and like they're sharing many information, but I always wanted to hear it from your side. So thank you for that. And
You're very welcome.
there's another famous quote from your book. So you have said to have more than what you have to have more than you've got. You've got to become more than what you are, right?
Absolutely. And we have to do that every day.
That's right. So I'm like, why is it important to have some sort of personal development if you want to be successful? And could you give us some example?
Well, I mean, you're never going to be successful as an entrepreneur if you don't take care of what's going on internally with yourself, whether it's your thought process, whether it's what you're feeding. I mean, here's an example. If you hang around negative people, chances are there's a real high level of chance that you're going to become a negative person.
That's
or
right.
You're going to think about what they're thinking about. If you're hanging around successful people, there's a quote that I love, and it says that if you hang around 9 millionaires, you're bound to be the 10th.
Oh, you used
right?
to, yes.
So, think of children. I don't have kids, but imagine having kids, and you find out that your kid is hanging around the bad kids in the neighborhood. You're probably going to do something to rectify that.
That's right.
But why aren't we doing things to rectify things in our own life when we're hanging around negative people? Right? We have to change that. So, because, who you align yourself with is ultimately who you become. Right? So if I know you, but if I didn't know you, and if I talk to 5 people who spend most of their time with you, I pretty much have you figured out.
Sure.
And that's how it is. So really align yourself with great people who believe in you, people who inspire you, people who hold you accountable, people who help you, people who are being your cheerleader to say you can do this, right? I used to have people tell me all the time my goals were too big. Right? And I talk to people like JT, right? And he says your goals are too small.
Absolutely.
So it really depends on who you're asking. So do whatever it takes, because you own it, and there's nothing more important than your life. And you have the ability within yourself to make these changes. You may need some help, but I'm saying that you have the ability to decide what you're going to focus on. You have the ability to decide which environment you're going to put yourself in. Is it going to be an environment that serves you? Is it going to empower you? Or is it going to be an environment that disempowers you? Right? And those are the decisions that I make in my life. I only align myself with good people. I only align myself with positive people. I never subscribe to any negativity whatsoever. I tell people in my inner circle, if I say something negative, please call me out on it, because I will definitely call you out on it. And
Wow.
because it's tough to achieve greatness having a great mindset.
Yes.
It's nearly impossible to do it with a negative mindset. And the choice is yours.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I have been doing some cleanup and keeping away from some of the people, simply because if you want to focus on your dream and just move forward. So that had been really helpful as well. And another thing I wanted to ask about, our attitude towards anything in life directly impacts our success, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how should one be focusing on their attitudes? Like, we have
The
so
attitude.
much of attitudes, right? And when we want to go forward, what kind of practice one should be focusing on, especially when it comes to your attitude?
Well, the attitude is no different than your mindset. And again, your attitude is what you decide it's going to be. You know, if you want to wake up and have a great attitude, decide. It's a decision. It's not some hocus pocus that you have to do. Now, we're talking about someone who has depression, or we're talking about someone who has anxiety or something like that. That's different, because that's a medical thing. But
Yeah.
but if I went to the doctor and my doctor says, Reggie, you're suffering from depression, I would say, okay, whatever. I'm just going to decide not to be depressed, right? Because I can do that. But when you hang around good people, it just makes you become a good person. When you hang around strategic thinkers, you automatically become a strategic thinker, right? So, you just have to, when you read something that is going to serve you, that's another thing. So one of the first things I do when I wake up in the morning, I read something that's going to inspire me and get me through the day. I'm a positive person. That's who I am. But I'm not positive all the time. I have my good days and I have my bad days. But you can either respond to those things or you can react to it. And I want to respond to it. I don't want to react to it. And you have to, I give myself permission to be upset or to be angry. Those are emotions. I'm human. But you want to just visit those emotions because they don't serve you. You don't want to live there. You just want to visit. And I give myself permission, even sadness. We're human. We have to be sad. I give myself permission to be sad. I give myself permission to be angry. I give myself, but short term. And then I say to myself, I'm just going to visit because that's not where I want to live. So, and those are the decisions that I make on how I really manage my mindset. And I think that's why I have such a great mindset. But I'm no different than anyone else. I'm not some mindset guru. I just know the things that I need to do and things that I help other people to do to really trigger it, to get them to redirect their focus on what's going to better serve them.
I mean, that's so true when you said don't live in it, because that's where many make mistake, because we tend to forget and we just get caught up in that trap. And
Absolutely.
And every time I speak to you, you just have this nature of pulling anyone out of that trap and like putting us back on track. And so that's actually something great as a coach. And I'm so thankful to be mentored and be coached by you as well. And another thing that I always admire is your time management skill. Because you're always on the move, and every time I speak to you, you're like flying to different countries, and half of your life, I'm sure you've been spending in flights. But
yes.
I know you wake up very early. And
4 a.m. 4:30.
Absolutely. How do you do this? And what is your morning routine like?
For the morning routine, I wake up at around 4:30. No matter what time I go to bed and no matter where I am in the world, I always wake up at that time because I call that my time. That's the time where I'm working on my goals. That's the time where I'm working on things that I need to do to really develop myself as a person. And also, I have very little interruptions during that time. I'm focused during that time. I'm more innovative during that time because it's fresh. I'm in the morning. That's the time I exercise and all of that. Again, I'm taking care of myself. That's my time to really do what I need to do to develop myself as a person. So, and that's my morning routine, you know, every single morning, even on the weekends, I do that as well. And by the time 10 o'clock a.m. comes, most of my day is pretty much done. Now, when, you know, before COVID, when I was traveling and everything, you just managing your schedule is one of the most important things to do. And I don't call it time management. I like to call it life management, because you're not really managing your time, you're managing your life.
Right.
And we all have different areas of our life. We have our family, we have our business, we have our health, we have, you know, we have our religion, whatever it is, we have to manage all of those things. So I block off 40-minute increments with whatever I'm doing. If I have calls to do, for instance, I'll block one time period for all of my calls to really keep the momentum going. Because I don't want to have to do calls in the morning, the evening, and the afternoon. I want to do them all at one time where I'm totally focused, right? So I had a lot of calls today. You know, today was a long day because Mondays are usually a very long day for me, and I did a lot of coaching because JT and I did a big event this weekend, a virtual event. I had a lot of clients I had to really connect with. So I've been nonstop since about 7 a.m. and it's almost noon here. But that's how my Mondays are. But after my, you know, interview with you, then I'm doing some more of my transactional things. You know, I do my transformational things in the morning. I do my transactional things in the afternoon. What's transformational? Well, transformational would be things that really need the sharpness of my brain, right? Transactional would be more things like checking email, reviewing my financials, and things like that.
So you do that just after your me time. You go into the transfer.
Yeah. Things that require me to be at my sharpest, I'm talking at my very, very peak. I like to get those things handled in the morning. And there are some things, you know, I used to talk to my coach, and my coach used to always ask me, Reggie, why do you keep procrastinating doing this task? You know, there are some things that I do in the day, I just don't like to do it. And my coach always told me to start with the things that I don't want to do.
Want to do it
first. And I've been doing that. And now I'm realizing that the things that I thought I didn't like to do, I actually enjoy doing them. And they take far little time than I expected.
Wow. Oh, that's actually a good point, because I was going to ask you, that was my second question, but you already answered. Do you ever procrastinate? Because that's something very common, like everybody.
I do. And, but I also hold, you know, I have someone, you know, my coach holds me accountable.
Yeah.
You know, my assistant holds me accountable. You know, I pay my assistant not to really be my assistant. I think that term even undermines what he does. I pay him I said, I'm paying you for you to make sure that I keep my promises.
Yes.
To my clients, to people I'm working with, my internal and external clients, make sure I keep my commitments. And there's been times where I would send them a text message or call them and say, you know what, I really don't want to do this meeting tomorrow. Can you just cancel it and move it? And he says no. And I give him permission to say no, because he knows I need that accountability. So that's really, really important. And I'm a very right-brain person. I'm all over the place. You know, right now, I'm thinking about 20 different things, even as I'm doing this interview with you. And so I have to really have a high awareness of my focus.
Very good. Yeah.
Or lack thereof.
That's a great tip as well, because a lot of people need to grab into that. And I mean, you were speaking about exercising, no matter which country you are in.
Yeah.
And, you know, many go when they're busy. You know, health and exercise and healthy eating are the last thing in their agenda.
Yeah.
How do you manage? Because I always see you fit, and no matter how many hours you sleep, you're always smiling and you're always with that energy. So is that something? How do you manage it?
Well, you know, these are the things that I manage in my life. I manage, and these are in no particular order. So I manage my business, my finances, right? I manage my health, and I manage my relationships. Those are the four things that I manage, because if I lose one of those four things, I could potentially lose it all. Yeah. So health is in there because you cannot have wealth unless you have your health, right? You cannot create wealth unless you have your health. So health is a very important thing for me. And during COVID, I've been really, really healthy. You know, I'm exercising more, and I'm careful what I eat, and I'm just more conscious of my diet and all of that. And I was healthy before then, but now I'm super, super healthy. I mean, I'm exactly where I am now is where I was when I was in university, as far as my health stats, and that was my goal. And I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm doing things since COVID that I haven't done before. You know, I never played basketball. I play basketball all the time now. It's so funny because I post pictures on my social media.
I know.
Like, who are you? Who is this person? I was just talking to Francie, JT's CEO, and she's like, "Who are you? You know, you have a mountain bike. You're playing sports now. You know, you're cooking. I never cooked. I have to cook by myself now because I'm here alone. You know, so I've been watching YouTube videos on how to cook healthy meals, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm having so much fun. So we have to make it fun. You know, anything that's important to us, we have to figure out a way to make it fun and make it enjoyable.
Yeah.
And because these are things that we have to do. If it's important to us, well, we have to do it.
That's very important. We have to find a way to make it enjoyable, because this is the time I've been hearing a lot of complaints, and like, you know, they don't want to do these kind of things. But you just gave a great example of how one could actually figure out to be in that moment and enjoy the life as well. I've got one more question for you. Basically, you know, everybody talk about you need to find your passion.
Yes.
And I mean, how important is it? How can you find the passion? And in order to be, should you find a passion to be successful? Or has that got to do with anything? Or like in terms of like, do you need to know what your passion is in order to be successful in your life?
Well, some people, you know, when I was 21, and when I decided to, you know, I didn't have any passion. I didn't know what to be passionate about. I had no idea what I was going to do. I know on the journey to success, there are some things that you may not be passionate about, but you still have to do those things. You know, I work out, and I do what I need to do to take care of, but I don't enjoy working out. It's not, I'm not passionate about doing it, but I know I have to do it in order to, you know, stay fit and all of that. So there's things that I do that help me grow that I'm not passionate about. And I figure out a way, how can I enjoy this in the moment? You know, I always ask myself that, how can I enjoy it within the moment? But these are things that I'm not passionate about. Now, most of what I do in my life, I am passionate about, because when you get to a certain level, you can start picking and choosing what it is you want to do. When you're first starting off, you may not have the luxury of doing that. You may have to just do one thing that you're not totally passionate about, working towards the goal of eventually not having to do that, where you can start doing things that you're passionate about. So passion is really, really important. You know, sometimes if you don't know how to do something, the passion alone may get you there, because that passion is going to, you know, somehow attract those resources so that you can learn how to do those things and accomplish those things you want to accomplish. So I don't really overthink about being passionate or non-passionate. I think we know that automatically, but start somewhere and start before you're ready, and just, you know, do something and figure out what it is you want to do and how you want to do it and all of that. And it's going to happen as long as you have a clear mindset and you create that vision for what it is that you want.
That's a great one, because if you don't have the passion, I sometimes feel you have to, as you said, you have to find a way to start liking it. And sometimes we think we won't like it, but as you were mentioning, like, you end up liking it as well, right? So yeah, that's
sometimes. Not all the time. I'm not quite there with the working out yet.
Really?
I'm not quite there. I'm not sure if I'll be there, but I know I have to do it, you know, and you have to do it, you know.
It's part of your life.
I find out what I need to do to enjoy it in that moment. And I think that's what the key. Maybe listening to when I listen to my personal development when I'm on the treadmill or something, because I'm not thinking about being on the treadmill. I'm thinking about what I'm learning. And sometimes I'm on the treadmill for 45 minutes. And it's like, my goodness, it felt like 5 minutes only because of what I was focused on.
Yes.
While I was doing that. So
Yeah.
you got to do what works for you, and for everyone it's different.
Yes, that's right. But I like the fact that like 45 minutes working out in the treadmill, and you only thought it's 5 minutes. That's
I really
good.
did.
It's a
I really
distraction,
did.
right?
Because if I'm just on it, all I'm doing is looking at the time of how much time I have, and it goes so slow, as you know.
Because you're focusing a lot on that, and you don't really like it.
I'm focused on it, and the reason why I'm focused on it is because I want the time to go fast so I can get off this thing, right? But now again, redirect your focus. How can you redirect your focus? That's how I redirect my focus. And how can you redirect your focus when you're watching something that's negative on TV? Change your focus, redirect your focus, and do something else. Get off the internet. There's a lot of bad things on the internet. There's a lot of negative things on the internet. Don't subscribe to those things. Do what's going to really move you to make yourself a better person. Do what's going to move you to really grow your business. Or whatever success means to you, start focusing on those things and start scheduling time every single day, whether it's an hour, 4 hours, I don't care what it is. Even if it's an hour a week, allocate time that you're going to be laser focused on this specific task. And that's when you're going to start really making things happen. And start before you're ready. Don't have this mindset that I'm not ready. No one's ready before they start. Yeah. Start before you're ready. And that's how you're going to really make things happen. Implement as much as you can, as quickly as you can. As you know, JT teaches, we come up with an idea. Don't sit on the idea. Implement the idea and make it happen.
That's a great feel. I mean, it's a great tips and also good words to wrap up, because today what I am is because of your coaching and JT Foxx, and you know how I was 2 years ago. So,
but we're both better, because I'm a better coach because I coached you. So and it gives me, now you're coaching people, right? And seeing where you were, which wasn't a bad place, you just needed to grow. Seeing where you were versus where you are now, and your level of confidence and the things that you're doing and the content that you're putting out there. I mean, you're really, really making things happen. And now it's time to really put the pedal to the metal and take it even, further. And you're doing that. And I'm sure that's what you teach your clients to do as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Reggie, for your precious time. And I'm sure people would value this. And you shared great tips. And definitely, I'm going to be posting this. They can find you in social media. I will give the link as well.
Yes, they can find me on social media, on all social media platforms, just Reggie Batts. And I manage my own social media. I don't have anyone doing that for me. So if you send me a message, I'll be the one responding. But it was so nice being on your show, and I'm so proud of you and all the wonderful things that you're doing. And I'm thankful that we have technology. I'm all the way in California in the U.S. and you're on a completely opposite side of the globe. So it's so nice to see you again, and so nice to see how great you're doing.
Thank you so much. I'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Take care. Likewise.